Speaking of Ros, I would like to invite Ros Clarke up the front. She is going to be our speaker for the day. She's going to be sharing, I'm sure, as we go along from her own experience. Morning, Ros.
Morning.
But it'd be good just at the start to hear a little more about her to start with. Now, Ros, what would you normally doing Monday to Friday when you're not kind of speaking at conferences and that sort of thing? Tell us a little bit about what you normally do.
Yeah, so in fact it's Monday to Thursday really, because I work a 4-day week, and I'm just looking because I've got our finance manager directly in my line of sight. So I need to know I work very hard Monday to Thursday for my contracted hours. I work for an organisation called Church Society. Our stated aim is to reform and renew the Church of England in biblical faith. So I hope you appreciate that's quite a big task that we've set ourselves. And my part in that, I'm involved in writing, communications, organising conferences. I'm a member of the Church of England's General Synod and sit on 1 or 2 committees associated with that. So those sorts of things are my day job. Sometimes that is coming out and speaking at churches and those kind of things, but often it's in the office on my computer working online.
Brilliant. And if you weren't here speaking at a conference today, what might you be doing on a Saturday if you had a free Saturday?
Oh, free Saturdays, aren't they glorious? I can't remember quite what I do on them, but I'm sure it must be a thing. Well, do you know what? I'm going to tell you what I'm going to be doing next Saturday, because I'm very excited about it. Once a year, I make a trip to Watford. I know. I mean, we're all excited about that, for a cross-stitch, I'm going to say convention. I think it calls itself a retreat, but it's perhaps not quite what we would think of as a retreat. What I really love to do is art and crafts and sewing and textiles, and in the last couple of years, for various reasons, I've ended up doing a lot of cross-stitch, so I really enjoy those kinds of things.
Brilliant. And I've seen Ros's work, and it is absolutely fantastic. If you want to actually find out a little bit more about Ros, you can just ask her about Charlie, her dog. We love Charlie.
We don't really have time for that.
No.
Now.
Not now, but, you know, any other time during the day.
Pigeonhole app.
Yeah, there we go, yes. Now, Ros and I do have something in common, apart from our faith in Jesus, which is that both of us study both physics and theology in that order. And I know one thing, unlike me, Ros has a PhD, and it's not actually in physics.
It's not in physics.
So tell us a little bit about
Yes, please
that.
don't ask me any questions about physics ever. So I studied at Oak Hill College, many of you will know, in North London. I did 4 years there on their master's programme. And at the end of that, well, sort of not right at the end, sort of halfway through that, it became really clear to me that there weren't really many of the people I was training alongside who had in mind that they might go on to further study. And that's great. You know, many people very committed to parish ministry or women's ministry or youth and children's ministry and those kind of things. But somebody had made the point quite early on in my time at Oak Hill that if nobody goes on and does further study, who is going to teach the next generation of ministers? Who's going to be there to train them? And I promise you, liberal theologians and secular thinkers will carry on thinking and producing books and writing nonsense. Who is going to be the person who can engage with them and show that actually those things are false? And some people will need to be equipped to be the next generation of those who can be the teachers, who can be the writers, who can be the trainers. And I remember thinking, well, I don't know that I feel all that committed to being in local church ministry in any particular way. And I began to talk to my tutors, and in particular, my Old Testament tutor at the time, and he was very non-committal about it. And then I talked to his wife, and she says, "Oh no, he does think you should do it." So I'm like, "Okay, good, thanks." So anyway, and I remember very clearly actually thinking, because I'd had to raise funding to go to Oak Hill, and thinking I'm just not sure I can face raising funding for another 4 years or so. Somebody else is going to have to do that. And going to church, and at the end of the service, the person in front of me sort of turned around and said, Ros, I hear you're thinking of doing a PhD. And I said, well, I'm sort of thinking about it. And he said, well, do you want me to see if I can find some funding for you? And I'm like, I mean, Lord, I know you answer prayers, but, do you have to do it quite so obviously when it's clear that I'm trying to escape? And anyway, so I did a PhD. I was very clear that I wanted to write something. One of the motivations was I felt I had something to say about the Song of Songs. And so that's what I ended up writing my thesis about. And I'm currently trying to write a commentary on it, which at some point might see the light of day, and I hope will have an impact on the church as well.
Excellent. And I know you've written 2 other books, because they're on our bookstore hopefully today, and you'll see them
They
referenced.
are, I checked.
Excellent. And they are, if you want to know what they are, they're listed in here at the front. So you've talked about working on the Song of Songs commentary, but and you clearly have a real passion for study and for thinking about all these things. What else are you working on at the moment, or about to work on, that kind of excites you? Yeah,
do you know, one of the things I really am passionate about is not just doing the theology and the thinking and the research, but actually being able to communicate that to ordinary people in the church. It's really important that there are people who write the really serious academic books that other really serious academics read, but some people need to also be able to disseminate that more widely, and that's what I really love. I am writing the commentary. I've got a couple of other things in mind. I really want to write an Advent devotional that's properly about Advent and not about Christmas. So you can look out for that sometime. But also a book, the sort of book that you might give to someone who's recently become a Christian, or perhaps recently sort of started to take their faith quite seriously, and just a sort of primer on basic things that, what things might you need to start doing if you're a Christian. You might need to start going to church and praying and those sort of things. What kind of things might you need to change your attitude to, maybe your family or your work or money or those kind of things? What kind of things might you need to stop doing, which might be things to do with sex or addiction or those kind of things, which in the course of a normal church life you would hear about, but not necessarily immediately. And we just don't live in a society anymore which understands Christian culture and Christian lifestyle. And so it can actually be quite a long time before someone goes, oh, you mean I shouldn't be sleeping with my boyfriend? Oh, okay. And so something that would be that kind of primer that we could use for people on sort of Christian basics of life and doctrine and practice.
Thank you very, very much, Ros. And I will certainly be buying that book when it comes out, I can assure you. Well, we will, I know, be hearing more from you and more from your own experience, and I know Sue will pray for you. So I'm actually going to hand over to Sue now, who's going to lead us into our first session today. Thank you.